All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Speaking of Zane on this April the 6th, 2025. Happens to be the 314th edition of Speaking of Zane. Good to have you all in here. Let's see who we've got. Do a quick roll call. Toby's in there, down in Jayville. Okay. Steve Shirley's in there, Omaha Papillion. My dad's in there, Fitzgerald GA. Daryl's in there from Florissant, Missouri. Jimbo Miller from Omaha, Nebraska. Lori's in there. Lori's actually not in Ackworth, Georgia tonight. She's in Duluth, Georgia. More about that in a minute. Carl and Peggy are in from Truman Lake, Missouri. Ken's in from Central Florida. And Brenda Lusk from Michigan. Wow, I don't know how many states that is, but we're getting a Pan-American audience tonight, as we usually do. Good to have you all in here. Yeah, I mentioned Lori. We actually, she and I both went over to our daughter Hannah's place in Duluth, Georgia, Gwinnett County, on Saturday. And me and my son-in-law, Kaleem, put together a crib, a bassinet, and a chest of drawers. Man, it took us 3 or 4 hours. It was a lot of stuff there. But while we did that, Hannah, Lori, Everett, and our granddaughter Carson went to an ultrasound appointment. So they got to see our new grandbaby. Her name is Nyla. Got to see her via ultrasound. Pretty realistic what they can do these days, and in color. It's crazy. But anyway, so Lori is back over there. We came home Saturday evening, brought Carson with us. She stayed the night last night, Saturday night, as she often does, while her parents were out and about, and they came and got her this morning. And then Lori headed back to Duluth, where Hannah is. But it's about an hour drive, actually, because Everett is got spring break this week, and Hannah has to work. So Lori is playing Grammy this week over there, so she'll be with Everett during the week, and then I think on Thursday she'll pick Carson up, and then she'll have both of them. Thank God she's in good health these days, but she'll have both of them. And then I think Friday she will bring Carson home with her, and Carson's staying for, I think, 3 days with us, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe. Something like that. That's okay. She's a good little girl. She's pretty high strung, but she is a good girl. Well, let's see. What do we got here? Who else do we have? Lori's in there. Like I mentioned, very good. Okay, well, let's see. So, boy, we had a stormy day in North Georgia today. We were under a tornado watch most of the day till about 7 o'clock. We had some heavy thunderstorms, lots of rain. Actually, it worked out real nice because it lowered the temp. I was able to turn the air conditioners back off, but most importantly, it washed the pollen away, at least temporarily. I think we're about at the end of pollen. We may have another week of it, but the rain does a great job of tamping it down and cleaning things up a little bit. So that was fun. But I'm also told that my little grandson Everett is watching tonight. Hey, Everett. He has watched Speaking of Zane before, and he's been right here with me during Speaking of Zane on some occasions, but he's a good boy too. He's got the week off, spring break over there in Gwinnett County. Okay, well, let's see what we got going on here at the fabulous McDonald Estate and Zane Asylum. March Madness, anybody's bracket still alive? Mine was busted to all get out yesterday. Both my teams lost. Duke lost. Not my teams, they're just the ones I picked. Duke lost and Auburn lost. So now you've got Florida versus University of Houston on Monday evening. I don't know if I'll get to watch it or not. We'll see. I'm out of town this coming week. Well, let's see. In fact, I'll be in Las Vegas this week. It's not my favorite city. I don't hate it, but usually when I go there, it's for a conference. I mean, it's a conference town, but I am going for a conference. There's an organization called Great Place to Work, and they rate all these companies on a scale and award them, blah, blah, blah. Well, the company I work for, we've been on the Great Place to Work list for 14 years now. We're number 10. Of all the companies, it's pretty good to be number 10. But anyway, there's an annual conference for that. I went last year to New Orleans, and this year I'll be going to Las Vegas. So I'll head out there tomorrow afternoon, and then I'm taking the red eye home Thursday night. So I'll leave there about 10 o'clock Thursday night and get back here to Atlanta about 5 in the morning, so I can get home and have a regular day of work. Don't have to miss too much. Because the next week I've got to run over to Dallas-Fort Worth area for just a night and a day, and then back to a university out there that I'm doing a workshop for. It's a university that's part of, let me see if I can find the name. I had never heard of it. I'm embarrassed to say. If you know of this university, tell me. And let me just see if I can find. It's in the Texas A&M system, university system, kind of like Georgia has here, but it's called Tarleton State University. Tarleton State University. It's in a little town called Stephenville, Texas. Flying into Dallas Love Field, and then it's about a 100-mile drive from there. But yeah, it'd be fun though. Get out there for really just a night and a day, and then back that evening. That'll be the following week, and then that next week, the 21st, Lori and I are heading out on a road trip. We're going to drive up to Dayton, Ohio, where the squadron I was affiliated with in England. We're having a reunion. We've been having one every 2 or 3 years, but yeah. So we're going up to Dayton, Ohio, and our reunion is up there near the Air Force Museum, which is in Dayton. I've been a couple times, but that'll be fun. So we're going to drive. We're actually going to go. On our way, we're going to drive up through Kentucky. But you kind of have to, but we're going to purposefully go. The original plan was to visit some bourbon distilleries there. And in the town of Frankfort, Kentucky, there's some very close ones there to Frankfort. we're staying the night in Frankfurt. There's the Four Roses Distillery. There's the Wild Turkey Distillery. There's the Woodford Reserve Distillery. And then there's the very famous Buffalo Trace Distillery. Well, the Buffalo Trace Distillery happens to be adjacent to the Kentucky River, which is actually flooding at the moment. The entirety of the Buffalo Trace Distillery, to include the visitor center, is underwater. Yeah, evidently it's happened before, but anyway, the history through there, that whole culture, that history is fascinating to me. That's why we're kind of gonna do some tours through there. But now at least the Buffalo Trace Distillery visit is in question. It's closed right now, so we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks. And the other ones, I think the Wild Turkey Distillery is adjacent to the Kentucky River, downriver. The other two are not, so they're probably okay. And that's on the east side, the Frankfurt side. And then if you go to the west, to Lexington, then you have a bunch of the other distilleries. So we'll see what we're able to do there. But pretty busy week, pretty busy month of April. So I'm going to try to keep the Speaking of Zane sessions going, maybe even from the road in some cases. We'll see. I think the only time that I'm out on a Sunday is when we're actually driving back on the Sunday, the 27th. So we may miss Speaking of Zane then, but we've missed it before. Well, let's see. You probably saw on the Speaking of Zane Facebook group this week that Zane, one of Zane's battle buddies, Matt Aaron, a regular attendee to Speaking of Zane, him and his wife Katie posted that Matt was activated and deployed as a member of the Michigan National Guard, somewhere up north in Michigan where it's still snowing. And they had an ice storm or something, and they had to activate like 800 members of the National Guard up there to go help out. So I think that's where Matt still is. Speaking of weather, I saw the North Texas has some snow going right now. It's crazy. Anyway. All right. Well, hat of the week always has something to do with what is going on around here, or something that's topical anyway. And oftentimes I don't pick the hat of the week until like 5 minutes before the broadcast. And that was the case today. But I remembered that this is the week of the Masters. For you golf fans, the Masters. And I had the occasion to attend the Masters quite fortunately, and at the last minute, 2 years ago. You can see my hat, 2023, and had a fabulous time. I got a call from a buddy of mine at work. They said, "Hey, I'm going to the Masters tomorrow. I know you live in Georgia. Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Let me think about it." Yeah. And got up the next morning and drove down to Augusta and had a really good time. Walked the course, of course. I walked every hole, got to see Tiger, everybody. It was a practice round, but it was fantastic. If you've never been, you should try to go. I happened to be there for work. It was a work-related activity, but I understand if you want to go as a regular person, you got to do the lottery and all that stuff. I've never done that, but anyway, so that'll be fun to watch starting on Thursday, I believe. Okay, well, let's see. I didn't pull any this week in military history items because I'm so lazy. I just didn't get around to it. I had so much. I have lists and all kind of things I'm working on around the house, things I'm working on at work, things I'm trying to get prepared for, lots of travel I'm doing arrangements for, a lot of things around the house, and just didn't get around to doing the normal research, but hopefully you'll forgive me for that. But if you ever have any items that you want me to call out, military history related, shout them out and let me know. We definitely want to remember our history for sure. All right, well, let's see what we got here on the Veteran Cemetery Challenge. I didn't get up to see Zane. Lori did last week, but I didn't get up to visit Zane over this past week. But the weather really hasn't been that conducive to it anyway. But But I know that Daryl made a visit to Jefferson Barracks. And then I've got my dad and my sister. I have a list of visits they made. Of course, they visit my mom regularly at her resting place, which also happens to be where my Uncle Bob rests. He retired Air Force. But my dad recently made a 4,000-mile round trip out west and visited a number of places along the way. And I'll read those off to you. You can go look at the Speaking of Zane Facebook group. But I think we have a few new ones in here that we didn't have before as a group. Fort Gibson National Cemetery in Fort Gibson, Oklahoma. Oklahoma Veterans Cemetery in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is a new one. Czechoslovakian National Cemetery in Oklahoma City. Anybody ever heard of that? That's incredible. Santa Fe National Cemetery, where my dad has a buddy who's buried, and he attended his service some number of years ago. Now his wife is buried there, I understand. Gallup State Veteran Cemetery in Gallup, New Mexico. How about that? Anybody been there? There's a new Albuquerque National Cemetery that's under construction that they visited. And then New Mexico Veterans Memorial Park. You know what, Dad? I think I know the park you're talking about. It's fantastic because when I visited Jackson, when Jackson was stationed there at, what's the name of the base in Albuquerque? Anyway, he was there. I was at a conference in Las Vegas and decided to go from Las Vegas to Albuquerque and spend a few days with him while he was stationed there. And we went to the New Mexico Veterans Memorial Park. We sure did. Yeah, Kirkland. Yeah. Yeah, it is really nice, very comprehensive. And I did take a lot of I need to pull those pictures up and make sure that that's the right one, but I'm sure that's the same. There's also an air museum there in town that we visited. And also visited General Douglas McBride Veterans Cemetery in Roswell, New Mexico. And then the MIA POW Park in Roswell. So wow, what a interesting number of stops there on the 4,000-mile round trip there. So if I add up all of the visits, I think I got them all right. About 23 total if I add all that up. And I think 3 new ones for us. I need to digest that and plot it on my map. But all of that means that as we've been meeting together as a group, honoring our son Zane, called Speaking of Zane, and visiting veteran cemeteries, we have visited collectively 1,459 times. 1,459 times across 201 different locations. How about that? Thank you all for doing that. They're special places for sure, and I never looked at them the same before we put our son in one. I'd been to Arlington. I was aware of these cemeteries, but never to the degree, obviously. I mean, it's pretty dramatic, never having gone to one and then go into one to bury someone. But now, though, I look at them and I think, wow, it's almost a shrine. When I go and visit, I often have described it in the past as my least favorite place to visit and my favorite place to visit all at the same time. Kind of a conundrum there, but thank you guys for doing that with us. Randy Bergmeyer's in there. Hey, Randy. Hope you and Kathy are doing well. All right. Well, Randy, have you been to any cards games yet? I know it's only a week in. I know you guys normally take in several games. Randy, my Braves aren't doing so well. They got swept by the Padres and then the Dodgers, and then they come home and have their home opener, which they win, but then they haven't won again since. And now they got a couple days off, but they're just not, not doing too good. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, let's see. Had a few thank yous this week that I've tallied. My dad also sent me a list of veteran interactions during his road trip. He had breakfast with an Air Force major from Kirtland Air Force Base. Thanked him for his service. I mentioned how that came about, and then thanked 2 Marine Corps vets. He says he thanked 2 Army vets, a Navy vet at the zoo, and another Navy vet in Roswell. How about that? And then I did have two. I had two this week: a Marine Corps vet and a Navy vet. And getting some late breaking news here from Mr. Key Haas, and he says an Air Force vet, so we'll add that. And then Steve-O has got some here, so we'll add those in. 11 from St. Paul, awesome. Oh, very good, Steve. So we'll say 11 Leos. Let me find Steve's name on my list here. And Steve's still writing, it looks like, on the veteran side. So we'll get those tallied up here in a minute. We did, last week, we talked about the 4 third ID soldiers that were missing in Lithuania. And I think when we met last week, the three had been recovered, 1 had not, and the names had not been released yet. But since then, all 4 soldiers from the 1st Brigade Combat Team, 3rd ID, Fort Stewart, Georgia, all 4 have been recovered, have been identified, and have been returned to the United States. And I'll read their names. You've got PFC Dante Tatiana. He was 21 from Guam, actually. Sergeant Edwin Franco was 25 from Glendale, California. Sergeant Jose Junez was 25 from Joliet, Illinois. And then the 4th soldier that was recovered was Staff Sergeant Troy Collins. He was 28 from Battle Creek, Michigan. So keep their families in their prayers. I tell you, the Lithuanian military and the Lithuanian government and the Lithuanian people did a fantastic job. I think it was on Thursday or Friday, of a very dignified send-off of those 4 from Lithuania. And so good on our ally there, our allies in Lithuania. Okay, Steve, did you have any more to add there before I total them up here? Without Steve adding any more, let's see, I count. So I need to add. If Steve doesn't have any more, we're at 21 for the week. So that's 21 veterans, first responders, military members that heard from someone in this group, hey, thank you, or hey, I appreciate your service, or hey, what did you do in the Marine Corps, knucklehead? Something like that. Um, and that means 21 more people were acknowledged over the course of the last week. And that takes our total up to, since we started this thing, 3,411. 3,411 thank you. So that's 411 thank yous since the last time that Lori updated the sign. Let me see if I can pan up to the sign there. Whoa, Nelly. See the sign there? 3,000. You can barely see the three there. 3,000 the last time we updated. And that's at a pretty good clip, because that was, I don't remember how long ago that was, or was it that long ago? Was it, Lori? I don't remember. Just a matter of months. I mean, it hasn't been a year. But okay, here comes Steve. Now Steve's getting up there in age. You gotta, it just takes him a while to take what's in here and put it through the fingertips on the keyboard here. We'll give him a little bit of grace. Let's see. So we'll say he expresses gratitude to 5 Vietnam veterans, okay, at the Memorial Park in town. Good. I'm going to add those, Steve. Keep losing Steve's name. Here we go. So 5 Vietnam vets. How about that? That's awesome. Yeah, he is. He's there, Ken. Oh, goodness. Two Air Force veterans, RF-4, that was a reconnaissance version, and C5 crew chief. Okay, so we got you for 2 Air Force, and then 2 more at the Lowe's. Lowe's and Home Depot, those are target-rich environments for veterans, for sure. Well, don't take offense there, Daryl, just because you're in the same age bracket. I mean, I can't help it. All right, so let's see. I'm going to just see 2 there, 2 at the Lowe's. Okay, Steve coming in strong today. Yeah, we are, Jimbo. We are. All right, let's see. So if I add Steve's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I got to add 9 more. That takes us to an even 30 for the week. 9 more takes us to an even 3,420. Thanks for even things up. I'm a symmetrical guy. I like things in even numbers. So good job, Steve-O. 3,420 is where we're at since we started this thing not too long ago. What, Lori, 5 years, maybe something like that. 5 or 6 years. All right. Well, good to have you all in here. Have a great week wherever you're at. This is the time of year you got a lot of thunderstorms and tornadoes and stuff, so everybody watch out until we get through spring, and then it'll just be hot. But enjoy the week. If you see any veterans, don't forget that hey, they earned a thank you, right? Some sort of appreciation, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody back here again next Sunday. Lori's out this week. I'm out this week. But that's okay. We have a house sitter, so don't anybody think about breaking in. We have a house sitter, plus the house is booby trapped. So anybody out there that might be listening on the interwebs, don't even think about it. But good night to my grandson, Everett. If you're still awake there, Evie, have a good week with Grammy, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody again next week for what will be, what did I say, the 315th edition of Speaking of Zane. And away we go. See you, everybody. Cheers.